This is the Sunshine Cathedral perspective. New College of Florida scraps gender studies major under new evangelical leadership. The new College of Florida's Board of Trustees, the majority of whom were appointed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, has voted to begin the process of abolishing the institution's long-standing gender studies program. The move marks the latest in DeSantis' ongoing fight against New College, formerly the most progressive public college in the state. The motion to begin that process was put forth by board member Christopher Rufo, who has been largely responsible for animating the moral panics around critical race theory and LGBTQ plus, quote, indoctrination in schools, end quote. The board voted 7-3 on Rufo's motion during a meeting. In January, DeSantis appointed Rufo and 5 others to New College's Board of Trustees. The board then voted to fire the Public Liberal Arts College's president and replace her with former Republican House Speaker Richard Corcoran. Rufo, who has previously stated that one of his goals for transforming the new college is to abolish, quote, diversity, equity, and inclusion, end quote, defending his decision. The college's gender studies major was already imperiled after more than 1/3 of the school's faculty left the institution in the past year, many of whom attributed their decision to leave to DeSantis' appointments to the Board of Trustees. According to USA Today, the exodus included 8 instructors in gender studies, making it one of the most impacted majors. Well, this war on liberty, on conscience, on individuality, on people's right to explore, to even learn at this point. Gender studies, this is part of social studies. This is part of anthropology, sociology, psychology, literature, philosophy. I mean, this is an interdisciplinary, largely social scientific field, and it's important. It grew out of women's studies, and then it was gender and sexuality studies, and it continues to evolve, but it's a broad field. And with so much going on, with people arguing about gender and trust the science, and you know, wouldn't you want academic programs to actually study it so you do know what you're talking about, so you do know the complexities, so you do know, and of course, it's a major. It's not something you required of, you know, it's like they're not making business people take this course, or music people take this course, or art historians take this course. This is something you would choose to study. It's not forced on anybody. So it seems particularly onerous. It seems unjust. It seems unnecessary. And this is an ongoing attempt to silence people, to erase, by his own admission, to erase diversity and inclusion. And I think whenever you feel the need to erase, to oppress, you've already lost the moral high ground. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You've already said, we can't discuss this and come to something that works for people that makes sense. You're saying, I've lost this, and the only thing I can do is shut it the heck down.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Fear. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm all about checking people's credentials, and I would love to know what credentials this new person has to be the chair of the board, if he has served on another academic board before, or, you know, and just the new trustees, you know, what is the end game for all of this? Clearly is to hit a reset button, but to what end? And it is not a forward thinking button. Let's reset, refocus, and move into 2023 and beyond. It's not about forward thinking. This is a reversal on how do we tear this back apart? All the things that have made us what we are and who we are. Now let's just rip it apart. To what end?
Right. We all know. Many of us know people who have left the state of Florida because of these kinds of policies and this kind of thing that is happening. And it is truly heartbreaking to see how many people are leaving because they want to tear apart diversity, they want to tear apart inclusion. It's heartbreking.
It is. I just know from history, of course, history courses are also under attack. I saw a meme the other day that said, those that don't want history taught do want to repeat it. That's the point. And we do know from history that oppressive regimes always begin by targeting intellectuals. By, you know, get rid of the thinkers, get rid of the people who know things, get rid of the librarians and the researchers and the scholars, because they're in the way. And this feels like just, you know, from that old playbook.
A lot of it, to me, revolves around fear. They are afraid of losing whatever privilege they have. And when you're afraid of losing privilege, you start doing things to oppress people instead of lifting them up. You start trying to hold them back. And it truly is that whole story about trying to hide history. And it never works. It is so funny that every time we look back at a time in our society when things were falling apart, it started with the teachers. It started with burning books. It started with making people them. And it's now us against them. This is just another piece of it. And just like you, I know a lot of people who are leaving Florida or will not come to Florida. When my husband and I moved down here, a lot of friends asked, are you friggin' crazy? And that was over a decade ago. I said, well, South Florida is different. And DeSantis is determined to make sure that all of Florida is a vast wasteland.
You know, and I think his leadership is not a leadership of example, it's a leadership of political ignorance. And that's a lot of what he's bringing to the table. It is not a leadership by example. And you can just tell by the things he's doing and the people that he is surrounding himself with. This is a leadership of political ignorance.
Well, and his war on woke, I mean, that tells you everything. This comes out of a particular context of oppressed people, if I'm correct, I believe particularly African-American people, who would tell each other, stay woke, stay aware, see what they're doing so that you know how to respond, stay woke. And then this has got, of course, that's been appropriated by white folks and, you know, whatever. And now it's a philosophy to oppose. Of course, it's not a philosophy they can articulate. The whole idea is that when people are up to shady, ugly, mean, oppressive, wrong things, stay aware, see what they're doing, be aware, so that we can, you know, so that we can resist or offer alternatives or whatever. That he is declaring a war on woke tells us all we need to know about the motivation. We don't want people to be aware. We don't want people paying attention. We don't want people speaking out against oppressive and unjust policies. And so this is a person. This is a base. This is a political moment. Florida is beautiful, and does have some beautiful people. We do have some unfortunate leadership right now. But we're gonna stay woke is what we're gonna do.
Absolutely. And what's interesting now is we started back to school this past week. South Florida started back to school this past week, and we're seeing pictures now in schools of libraries whose books are covered and that kind of thing. The books are banned. You cannot check out these books. You cannot read these books. These things are going to become, I'm afraid, more and more frequent.
Land of the free, indeed.
I love the idea of covering the books. That is a protest in and of itself from the librarians. Kudos to them.
Oh
my goodness.
We can't let you have them, but here they are.